Ross, thanks for joining us. Was that a point gained?
Funny enough, it's what I just said to the lads in there. We've all been talking all week about 3 points and getting ourselves, back on that, get that winning feeling back. And so you sort of feel a bit disappointed at the fact that we didn't perform today. But I think it won't be one that we'll all remember in terms of the quality of the game. I thought it was one of the quite possibly one of the worst games of football I've ever seen. So I think to come away from a poor game, poor performance with a point on the road, we've got to be happy with it.
Came back from behind after the worst possible start.
Yeah, and I think it summed us up a little bit, Dave. We just looked sluggish, to a degree. Take some responsibility for that, because obviously we played Wednesday night and I kept a very very familiar team from the one that went out on Wednesday and performed really well. So maybe in hindsight, fresher legs might have helped that, but at the same time, I just thought we were off the pace a little bit and off the mark, and I think it told with the way that we got caught for the goal, and on a couple of occasions very similar moves, and put ourselves under a little bit of pressure because we just had no real energy and no real bite about us today.
But the equaliser was taken well.
Yeah, I thought we worked it well. We'd worked a couple of moves that we've looked at, and how we get up the pitch and how we could affect the opposition, the particular opposition and the players they had in their team today. And it was Lee, wasn't it, that run down that right-hand side and worked well to get onto the ball. We've been without him the last couple of days. He didn't travel with the boys last night because he's been suffering with illness. So he put his body on the line today and worked well to put the ball across. And I think Jordan Maguire touched it in, but somehow it went over the line anyway.
Jamie Turley had a good game, didn't he?
Yeah, I've been delighted with Turls. It was obviously a really difficult start to the season for him. And a frustrating end to last one, and it took us longer than we would have hoped to have got him back. But I think we're seeing now the player that probably we didn't see to a great deal last year as well, because he never really got to play in his best position on a regular basis. So obviously he came into the team, performed well at right back, and then gave him his opportunity Wednesday night and said to him, if you perform, you'll find yourself in the team, which he's gone out there today and defended his box well.
First league start for young Hector.
Yeah, I think I said to you Wednesday night, Dave, I'm really excited by this boy. I think he's got huge potential. One of those players that for his age shows real maturity and calmness on the ball. He's getting bigger and he's getting stronger. He's going to become more powerful the older he gets, and over the next coming months we can really put that into him to get him that little bit stronger to be able to compete. But I think he's going to be a real talent, and I was delighted with his performance again today.
Is this Sam Sargent's time?
Yeah, he's made some good stops, hasn't he? Probably stops you would expect Sarge to make. His kicking's consistent. I think what we have got now, if I'm brutally honest, in the past, Dino's always been my first choice, and has been, I suppose, when Justin was here too, in terms of when we made that change, that Dean's kept that shirt. But I think what we see now is there's a real competition for places, and I think across not just that position with Dino and Sarge, I think across the squad today, you've looked at a number of players that haven't been involved and haven't got off the bench. It's starting to show that we're in a little bit of a healthier position.
It wasn't a great match, and it wasn't helped by a referee who didn't have a great performance.
No, you're right, it wasn't a great match. I've just been trying to unwatch it in the changing room in there. And I won't be overly reviewing it too much, because I think it would be a painful experience to have to do it again. But yeah, there were some real strange decisions that we didn't have contact with him today, because as we walked out for the start of the game, their communications were down, so the fourth official didn't have contact with the ref or the linesman, so we couldn't get some of the explanations for the decisions. But the booking for Joe, he's given 2 free kicks where he's cleared the ball and the guys ended up running into him. I think he's a little bit strong. But the big one for me is the counter-attack. We've worked the ball, we've won it back, we're on the break, and he says to me, I needed to book the guy. And you think, well, let us score a goal first, or find out if we're going to score, and then book him. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I was under the impression that rule is in place to try to let the game flow.
Over 300 travelling fans.
Yeah, great. Loud. We didn't give them much to cheer today, and I think I always say to you, Dave, that it's our responsibility to get them people up off their seat and making a little bit of noise. But it's great numbers for us to be backed with and to have been followed with today. Just disappointed that we didn't give them a little bit more to cheer about.
There's going to be a big crowd. Bradford City will ensure that next weekend. You're going to have some real difficult selection for that one, aren't you?
Yeah, and today's been a tough day for me in terms of some of the decisions that I've had to make, because I've put myself out there a little bit and brought players out of the team that haven't really been out of the team probably since they came to the club. So But I think it's important that everybody in the squad knows that there's a possibility and opportunity to play in the team. People like Marvin will be disappointed that he wasn't included today, because I thought he had a good game, albeit on the left side of defence on Wednesday night. So, but my big thing is now is that when you perform, you get the opportunity, or you'll be very, very close to getting your opportunity. And I think I've proved that with the changes that we made on Wednesday and followed it up today. Like I say, a little bit maybe naive today because we looked like we lacked a little bit of energy and legs, and that was probably because of our close and the travelling and that went with Wednesday's game. But certainly headaches coming, Dave, and I'm hoping that they continue, because it means we've got a fit and healthy squad.
And finally for me, Ross, on that fit and healthy squad theme, what about the casualties and the absentees?
Wrap my brain so I don't miss anybody today, but Louis Dennis actually pulled up in the warm-up on Wednesday night. Was suffering a problem with his knee. I don't think it's too drastic. He's been in this morning and done some work in the gym and that sort of thing to try and keep him ticking over. So we're hoping that's not too much of a drastic one. Obviously Ruel and James Alabi travelled with us today. Craig Clay has been a bit of a concern. Very close. Craig wanted to be involved today, but I didn't feel he was at the stage. Still coughing and spluttering and not quite in exactly the right place. And what I didn't want to do was put him on the bench and he ends up having 20 minutes and makes himself even more ill. I was conscious of the fact that we wanted to look after him so that he can come in at the beginning of next week ready to look towards next Saturday.